Hi all, this is the first in a series of short videos on tutorials on how to use Excel. And in this video, all I plan to do is to show you how to open an Excel spreadsheet and just to do a few things and then to be able to save it. In the second and third Excel tutorials, we'll go over more about formulas where Excel really becomes an incredibly valuable software device. So all I've done is I've opened Excel, I clicked on File, I clicked on New Workbook, and so I have a sheet like this. The most important thing to notice about Excel right off the bat is that each column is labeled by a letter. So we have column A, column B, column C, and it actually extends out quite a ways. I've never been able to use an Excel spreadsheet to its full potential in terms of columns. After you get to Z, you'll find then you have A, B, and so forth and so on. So there are many columns that you can make in a spreadsheet. Also, going down the side, our rows are labeled in numbers. So we have 1 down to an incredible number of rows, and you can look at that later. So anyway, what this does is it allows us to have a name for every single cell, and that's what we call these different blocks in the spreadsheet. As I'm clicking them, you can see all of these are cells. And so this first cell is known as A1. We call it by the name of the column first. So A1, we have A2. This cell right here under the G would be G1. This would be G9. So each of these blocks is a cell. Each one of them has a discrete name, and it's named by the letter at the top of the column name, and the row number. So now once we get to here, we can type in anything we want to. Let's say the first row is maybe variables. Maybe we have age. We can type that in. Gender, type that in. This works pretty much like a Word document in terms of how fonts and capitals and small letters are used. We had age, gender. Well, I don't want that perhaps, so I'll click back. I'll delete gender. I'll delete age. Let's go with gender first. So I'll type in gender, and then I'll type in age, and maybe I'll type in length of stay. No, maybe I didn't want that. I'll delete that. Let's go with CHF as a variable. Actually, let's do diabetes, and let's go with length of stay. So then if I have this spreadsheet and I'm using to collect data, let's just say that I'm going to code all of my data, that males are 0, so the first participant is a male, his age is 45. I'm going to code diabetes as being 0 is not diabetic, 1 is type 1 diabetic, and 2 is type 2 diabetic. Well, he's a type 2 diabetic, so I put a 2 there. And maybe his length of stay was, say, 2 days. So you could see how I could enter numbers for this going down. You'd simply type in the number. This patient did not have diabetes. I press the cursor, the arrow button, to go to the right. And then maybe length of stay was 1 day. So what I'm doing to go back and forth from one cell to the other is I'm pressing the arrow buttons on the bottom right hand corner of my keypad, and I can go up and down in the same way. Okay. Now if I want to save this, it would be just like a Word document. I'll click File, I'll go to Save As, and I'll just call this, let's call it Data Collection. And so now I can click on Save. And so that takes care of how to open a document, how to save a document. You can enter data in the cells like this. Let's cover just a couple of more quick things. Let's look and see what's in our toolbar up here under Excel. We'll have some preferences. We'll cover that later. I just want to see if there's any other things you would need to know just to start off. We come back to all these. Under Edit, you can cut what's in a cell and paste it to another cell. So I can click on this 0. I can press Edit, Cut. Notice how it's highlighted, and maybe I want it in this cell. I'll go back and press Edit, Paste. And there's other ways of doing that. And supposing I say I really didn't want that, I can click the undo button and it'll move it back to where it was. So we did copy and paste. Down here at the bottom, it's good to name your sheet. So if you click on this, click on the sheet, you can change it to data collection maybe. I could change my sheet 2 to another name. If I want to add sheets, I can simply click on these plus buttons. And so now you can see how I can create many spreadsheets within this one file. And there are actually ways, and we'll show it in another video, of how you can have one number on one spreadsheet that you can bring into a formula to bring to a different spreadsheet. Another good thing to talk about right off is that this is a formula bar here. We're going to get to formulas in another cell, but that's what this FX is. And you can open it by going to View and clicking on the formula bar. One last thing in this beginning presentation is under Format, we can go to Cells, and under Cells we have these choices or these tools. So we can format a cell to be a number. Accounting makes it a little bit different. We can do dates, percentages, text, or general. We can go to alignment. We can align our text to be on one side or the other, bottom or the top. We can wrap text, and what that means is as we type, it'll just stay in that cell. We can click on fonts. We can change the fonts just like you would in a Word document. If I want to put a border around a cell, I can click on border, and here you can get a variety of options of how to go about doing that, and we'll cover that some more in a later one, but you see this will give me a border around gender. Going back to that for one more quick note, after border we have patterns. Here you can use color. I actually advise you not to use color at all in any Excel spreadsheet document. We could talk about that in another video. So I hope that helps you. I'll go ahead and save this again, File, Save, and that'll be saved to my, my directory. So we've covered how to open and close and save a file. We've talked about how to enter information. We've talked about adding sheets, and we've talked about how to just do some basic formatting of cells in terms of fonts, numbers, color, and borders. So I hope this has been helpful, and again in the next video we'll talk about how to make spreadsheets for data collection. We'll also talk in a second and third tutorial about how to make formulas in Excel. I hope you found this beneficial. Thank you.